Inmate, put that back in your pants right now. Do you hear me? Oh, you gonna find out. You gonna get yours today, inmate. Coming up next, I'm giving y'all a crazy story about an inmate who gets caught jacking. Well, let's just say the circumstances could have been a lot better for him. Stay tuned, y'all. Coming up next on the Corner Talk Show. What up, what up, what up? We are back. Who am I? Jersey Street Corner, and this is the Prison Talk Show, people. So let's get into it. Alright, y'all. This story is going to be about a guy named Jimmy. They called him Jimmy the Jacker. Yeah, y'all. This guy loved jacking. It was so bad to the point where you couldn't have your personal pictures around him. Like, you couldn't invite this guy in your cell if you had pictures stuck on the wall or under the bed or something, because Jimmy was such a pervert. If he saw your mama or your grandma or your auntie or your sister or your daughter or any female stuck on that wall, man, he might just start the jacking right there in your damn cell, and you had to do something bad to him. So to prevent all that, people kind of just stayed the hell away from Jimmy. He also had a bad problem jacking at the female officers. Now, I know y'all say, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with it is Jimmy, he didn't care where he would do it. You know, if he had somewhere to hide, he'd hide and whip it out. If he couldn't whip it out, he'd have his hands in his pants. Now that raises a lot of sanitary issues in the pod. Ain't nobody dapping you up. Ain't nobody eating with you. We don't know when the last time you had your hands in your pants. You better go ahead, move around somewhere for you get hurt. Anyway, y'all, Jimmy, he just didn't care. So Jimmy would go around the pod, actually, you know, conversing with people, whoever would talk to him here and there, and trying to get close to people and get a look at their photo albums. And they ain't know, you know, what his intentions was. And he even go as far as ask to borrow one of your pictures. Now that's crazy. Now, in the pod that I was in, you were behind the gates. All the cells were behind the gates, and the officers would sit in their desk that was on the other side. It was about, say, a good 15 to 20 feet away from the bars. So they had a big whiteboard on the wall, and that was a schedule, y'all. It had a bunch of names on it, and all the shift changes, you know, the pods that all the officers would be in and have to report to for the whole week or whatever. And the reason it was there was one in each pod. It was so the officers could communicate without having to call each other, and, you know, it was there for everybody to see. So if you wanted to switch with another officer, you could do that. You just have to clarify it with them first, and then you could just go and switch the name or switch the time, whatever shift you want, give up or trade, whatever it is. That's how they did their thing. Now, most officers, when they came in the pod, they would look at the shift to see if there's been any changes. You know, they'd stare at the board, at least for a good 5 minutes or so, maybe longer. Now, this is how Jimmy would catch the female officers right where he want them. They will come in the pod, and most of them, y'all, got on these tight pants that they really not supposed to be wearing in the institution. But don't nobody say nothing. The warden give them that leeway. I guess the warden say, let the guys get a little eye candy. I don't know what his reasoning was, but hey, that's just what it was. So when they go there and turn around and stare at that whiteboard, some of these female officers was stacked, y'all. I mean, curvy. Jimmy couldn't help himself. He'd be right there out in the open. He didn't care if he was in the day room. He didn't care. Whip it out, y'all, full on. And he would get away with it a lot. You know, everybody knew what he was doing. They just turn their head and walk the other way like they don't see him. Now, most people will put a white sheet up and go in their room or wait till they go in the shower or whatever they do, you know, but not a jacker, not Jimmy. Jimmy, he got caught jacking to an officer. Now, he misjudged his opportunity. This one female officer came in with a specific schedule change to do. She wasn't reading the whole board. It didn't even take her 2 minutes to make the change and turn around. And she caught Jimmy. Inmate, put that back in your pants right now. Inmate, you're going to the hole. Now, right away, Jimmy woke up out of his trance, because for a minute, she turned around and he didn't even stop. He just started going faster and faster and faster. He was zoned out, all into it. Now, soon as she yelled, he snapped out of it and hauled ass, y'all. Took off running. All she got is a kind of a description. Now, it don't take much for a female officer to get something done in prison. They don't got to do no favors. They don't got to do anything but walk through that prison. Sometimes, y'all, whether you're pretty or not, the smell of a woman walking through that tier with perfume on is payment enough for some of these inmates that got 15, 20, 30 years. That's enough for them, y'all. So, this female officer, she knew a couple of the guys on the tier had a little thing for her. So she approached them at the next count and said, listen, I got a problem. There's an inmate in this pod that disrespected me this morning, and I want y'all to find out who it is. Whoever take care of this inmate for me, I'm going to write y'all a love letter with a little bit of my perfume sprayed on it. And you know what I mean by a love letter. So right away, everybody up for that contract, y'all. They're like, well, shit, what'd he do? What'd he do? She was like, I was changing my schedule shift and I turned around and caught this fool jacking to my ass. They was like, oh, hell nah, hell nah. All right, we gonna handle this. We are gonna handle this. One of us gonna take that fool out. So right away, y'all, they all looked at each other and they all knew who the target was. They knew who the serial jacker was, Jimmy. And it's all about who gonna get to him first, how they gonna get to him. And they gotta do it without getting in trouble. Now, this is what a lot of people don't realize about prison, y'all. Sometimes a letter with some perfume could send some of these men over the edge. You talking about these guys got football numbers, 10, 20, 30 years. What's another 5 years to them? Now, there was a guy named Miguel. He was down with the LKs. Kind of big brolic dude. And sometimes you can't tell these inmates that those COs ain't they woman. Yeah, y'all. That's one thing you gotta remember. This prison, a lot of men get delusional. And they misinterpret little small signs and gestures of niceness and turn it all the way around to being protective of a correctional officer that's going home probably to their boyfriend or husband or wife, whatever. These guys will protect that woman and go as far as telling another inmate, you better not be looking at my woman. Don't be talking to my woman. Don't let me catch you. And they mean it, y'all. They will hurt you over one of those correctional officers. Now, Miguel, he regularly took contracts in the prison. If somebody had a problem, he was the go-to guy. Why? He was the LK's #1 hitter. He already had a 20 banger to do. He had no problem unaliving somebody, beating somebody into submission, robbing somebody, extorting them, all that. He was with the ish. You ain't want no parts of Miguel. And he wanted all the smoke with you. Now I'm going to give y'all another lesson real quick. In prison, a nude picture or a page from a magazine like Playboy or Hustler could go for anywhere from $5 to $10, cash or commissary. Usually more if it's commissary. Now, if it's the spread, the 2-page spread, you talking about like $20. And you know, inmates get that up quick. So if you got your hands on a nudie book, you got, you know, a lot of commissary right there in your hands. You just gotta divvy it up the right way. Now, for somebody to rip a whole page out of a book and post it up in the bathroom, on the wall, in the shower, that's too good to be true. Who gonna give up a whole $10 and leave it up there on the wall like that? Now, sometimes guys might go to the shower and take their page with them and put it up on the wall for the time they're in the shower, and then they dry off and fold it back up and take it back to their cell with them. So, if there's one left on the wall, chances are it's a setup. Somebody is trying to catch somebody stealing. Well, that setup was for Jimmy, y'all. The LKs set that up. They said they could spare that $10 just to catch this guy. They ripped the page out of a book, put it up there in the wall, and then they spread the word around the pod. Told everybody, make sure Jimmy knows there's a picture up there on the wall. So everybody knew not to rip that picture down and take it for themselves. They already knew what it was. If anybody touched that picture besides Jimmy, they was going to get dealt with immediately. So fast forward, y'all. Once Jimmy would find out that that picture was on the wall, you know he couldn't help himself. He made a beeline straight for his cell, being that it was in the shower. Got his chancletas, you know, the prison shoes. Got his towel, his boxers, and he got his baby oil. Yeah, y'all. They let you get baby oil in prison, too. He got it, went on down to that shower. Now, when he got down to that shower, his eyes got so wide and big. When he saw that picture, he saw it as soon as he walked through the door, and he started speed walking, y'all. He wanted to get as close as possible. He wanted to be right in front of that picture. And when he saw it, it was a bad little Latina. Somebody done put up there on the wall. And boy, was he impressed. He immediately, you know how you put your towel and your soap and everything on the ledge and everything so it stayed dry? He dropped everything that was in his hands, y'all. He was that impulsive. Dropped everything that was in his hands and went to work. Now, as expected, y'all, LKs start slowly creeping on over. They saw him go in there. They saw him drop all of his stuff. And they knew what time it was. Y'all, they had pokers. They had blades. They had bars. That's the bone crushers, y'all. Jimmy was getting ready to get done dirty for real. He had no idea because he was in his zone. Miguel walked up behind him. He ain't even say nothing. He just snuck him from behind. Bow! Right in the back of the head. Jimmy moved, fall forward. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Now, everybody yelling in the back, all the LKs, don't let him touch you, yo. Don't let him touch you. Because, you know, he was over there jacking. And Miguel like, nah, I ain't worried about that. I ain't worried about that. I got a letter coming to me. And Miguel just start going to work on him, teeing off on him. Lefts, rights, hooks, jabs. And then next thing you know, The LKs behind them, they was like, nah, bump this, man, bump this. We need him off this tier. He bringing too much heat to the tier. Pull them pokers out, pull them blades out. And they started getting to work on him. Bow, 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 tagging them up. Legs, thighs, side, back. Now Jimmy over there crying. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm sorry. What I do? I won't do it again. And Miguel like, you disrespected my woman. As he's punching him, pounding him, y'all, in the jaw. Don't you ever disrespect my woman again. And they stomping him and everything else. And finally Miguel like, all right, that's enough. Let's go. Somebody gonna come and hear something. So they left him there on the ground, y'all. Hauled ass up out of there. Man, it wouldn't be at least another 40 to 45 minutes before they found Jimmy, because it wasn't time for the COs to do count yet. And it wasn't nobody gonna go and tell what just happened. So that gave them plenty of time to go get away, change their clothes, wash up, and avoid the whole situation, y'all. Wasn't nobody worried about Jimmy talking. Jimmy just got the beat down of his life. If he said anything, it didn't matter what prison he got sent to, he was gonna get unalived. LKs don't play that. So things would go on. 45 minutes later, they call the code, lock it down. Later on that night, that female CO came back. They were still, trying to figure out why this whole incident happened. Ain't nobody say nothing, so there was no charges, and the lockdown was over 2 days later. The CO kept her word, and she wrote that letter, and she slipped it under Miguel's door after the lockdown one night. And all Miguel could do was sit there and smell that letter, and he was in heaven, y'all. His woman just kept her word. Listen, y'all, jail is not a real place. You don't want to go there. If you listen to Jay Corner, I'm going to give you what you need to stay out of prison. But I'm also going to give you rules and tips to survive if you find yourself in prison. So, with that, I'm going to get on up out of here. The moral of this story is, listen, put the white sheet up. That's all I can tell you. Keep it in your pants. If you like stories like this, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm out.